Who's the person you barely knew but will never forget? When I was a senior in high school, we had this massive snowstorm that shut down half the city. School was still open though, because of course it was. Most kids didn't show up, but I dragged myself there anyway because my mom would have killed me if I stayed home. Around lunchtime, they announced over the intercom that anyone who wanted to help clear snow from the gym could skip their next class. I was supposed to have chemistry, which I was definitely failing, so I jumped at the chance. I walked into the gym expecting to see a bunch of other slackers like me, but it was just me and Mr. Ray, the janitor. I'd seen him around for 4 years, but never really talked to him. He was this quiet older guy who always wore the same faded blue work shirt and pushed his cart around like he was invisible. He handed me a shovel without saying much and pointed toward the loading dock where snow had blown in. We worked for about 2 hours straight, just clearing out piles of slush and salt from the bleachers and entrance area. That's when I noticed he was limping pretty bad on his left leg. Every few minutes he'd stop and lean on his shovel, trying to hide it. I told him I could finish up the rest myself if he wanted to take a break. He looked at me for a second, then pulled off his work gloves and handed them to me. They were these thick brown ones, probably older than I was. "You'll be fine," he said, and walked away. Over the next few weeks, I started volunteering to help out more around the school, partly because I was looking for any excuse to get out of tests, but also because those couple hours with Mr. Ray had been weirdly peaceful. No drama, no pressure, just work. We'd end up talking while we restocked supplies or moved tables for events. Nothing deep or personal, just stuff like whether it was gonna rain, or how the basketball team was doing this year, or which mop worked better on the cafeteria floor. He knew everything about that building, which water fountain had the coldest water, which classroom door stuck in the winter, where kids liked to hide when they skipped class. Sometimes he'd tell me stories about students from way back, like this kid in the 80s who tried to bring a goat to prom as his date, or how they used to have smoking sections in schools. He had this dry sense of humor that caught me off guard. One day I asked him how long he'd been working there, and he said almost 30 years. 30 years of cleaning up after teenagers, dealing with broken toilets and mystery stains, and most people didn't even know his first name was Eddie. Then one Monday morning, Mr. Ray just wasn't there. His cart was still in the supply closet, but someone else was mopping the halls. I figured maybe he was sick or taking a day off, but by Wednesday, word started spreading around school. Mr. Ray had died over the weekend. Cancer. Nobody even knew he was sick. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. Here was this guy I'd spent maybe 20 hours total with, and I was more upset than when my own grandfather passed away last year. The funeral was on a Thursday. I skipped school to go even though I barely knew him. There weren't many people there. A few teachers, some family members I'd never seen before, and me. When I got back to school the next day, I went to clean out his supply closet since they asked for volunteers. That's when I found a shoebox on the shelf with my name written on it in his handwriting. Inside was his old baseball cap, the one he wore every single day. It was faded and had paint stains all over it. There was also a folded-up copy of the school's daily schedule from that first week we met, and a note that said, "Didn't talk much, but you were good company. Keep going, kid."